Of where it sounded basically like a shotgun blast going off. Pretty much threw me to the back of my seat.
His head turned, backing his Ford pickup out of his yard in Floresville. Mike Swenson never expected it.
Felt like getting hit with a 2x4.
And what had Swenson hit? Nothing, but his airbags went off anyway, sending his hot coffee flying, taking the mug right out of his hand.
Broke the handle off right there.
Swenson was lucky. He lost only a couple of fingernails.
Shattered ribs or a broken neck that is not fatal. Jaws, eye orbits shattered.
Attorneys who litigate these cases say airbags that go off when they're not supposed to have been known to hospitalize drivers.
You get eye injuries, blindings, disfigurement of the face, and shattered wrists, thumbs broken or torn off. Faces actually blown into the back seat.
What happens in less than a tenth of a second has an explosive force powerful enough to break a windshield. State Farm Insurance donated this vehicle to the I-Team to show what happens in the airbag deployment zone.
The way that they promoted it for years was like a nice soft pillow. You would see these big mushrooms come out slowly, but if you see them in real speed, it blows out at you just like a cannon.
In real speed, they're clocked at around 200 miles an hour. The federal government's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration tells the I-Team it has no real database of how many times airbags deploy when they shouldn't. But the agency does have reports of some of them. Reports of airbags deploying when a car hits a curb, or hits bumps along a highway divider, or hits a pothole, enough to trick airbag sensors into thinking the vehicle is crashing.
There's no doubt airbags do save lives. In collisions like these, the government says in the last 14 years, some 16,500 people have crashed like this and lived to tell about it. But that same study shows that airbags are responsible for more than 250 deaths, many of them women and small children, and drivers whose airbags never should have gone off in the first place.
He thought he was fine.
San Antonio has had such a case where Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Vincent DeMaio wonders if the airbag should have deployed. A minor crash where a man walked away only to die later from his airbag injury.
But what he didn't know was he had a small tear in his aorta due to the compression of the chest. And a few days later, the tear extended and he died from that.
Enough airbag deployment complaints can warrant an investigation and force a recall. But trial lawyers say there are hundreds, possibly thousands of inadvertent airbag deployments that go unreported because the injuries aren't bad enough or the legal cost too great to take an automaker to court.
3, 2, 1.
The newer generations of airbags are getting smarter. But until they're tested for any scenario a driver may face on the road or off it, attorney Stephen Van Gosbeck says airbags may continue to deploy without warning. He's handling several such cases right now.
They've not run enough types of crashes that are necessary to find out all the flaws in the software and in the hardware and the matchup between them to keep airbags from going off when they shouldn't go off.
I don't want them ever again.
Like Mike Swenson's, whose airbags are still draped over his steering wheel and glove box in his truck. He has no plans to fix them. He's had the airbags in his wife's truck deactivated too, believing airbags hurt more than help.